Good morning, students. Today we are going to start a topic, common human disease. It is continued. I have told you about the human diseases. Certain human diseases we have already discussed, such as typhoid. We have discussed the symptoms of typhoid. We have discussed how the typhoid occurs, what is the process of occurring of that means how the contamination occurs in a person. We have also discussed about the pneumonia disease, how it occurs, what are the symptoms of pneumonia. See, these are all bacterial diseases which we have discussed. Now, one thing we have also discussed apart from these bacterial diseases, we have discussed about common cold. So, common cold is caused due to virus, and we have discussed the symptoms of the common cold. We have discussed how it occurs. It is highly contagious, as you already know, and I have compared that with coronavirus also. Today, we are going to discuss about protozoan disease. Now, this causes a kind of disease which is called as malaria. So there are certain protozoans such as Plasmodium, which is responsible for causing malaria, and Anopheles mosquito is a vector which is responsible for malaria. Now, Anopheles mosquito, it carries the disease, and the parasite which is actually responsible for the disease malaria is Plasmodium. We have various species of this Plasmodium. First, Plasmodium vivax. This is the species number 1. The second is Plasmodium malaria. This is second, and the third one is Plasmodium falciparum. This is the most dangerous one, Plasmodium falciparum. Plasmodium falciparum is malignant, and therefore it is the most dangerous one, and it is malignant. So now we will be discussing about the life cycle of malaria. We will be discussing about the life cycle. A person who is infected from this disease, a mosquito, Anopheles mosquito, bites that person, and then the Plasmodium enters inside the body of the mosquito. Then the mosquito bites another healthy person and transfer this Plasmodium into a healthy person. So this is how the disease spreads from one person to the another person. Now let us see this in detail. When the mosquito containing the Plasmodium bites a healthy person, then sporozoid stage of the Plasmodium, this name you should remember, sporozoid stage of the Plasmodium, it enters in the body of the healthy person. So this is the first stage of the Plasmodium which enters inside the human body. Within 30 minutes of its entering inside the human body, it reaches the liver cells. You can also say hepatic cells. The other name of the liver cell is hepatic cells. So it reaches the liver cells. Inside the liver cells, what this parasite starts to multiply asexually, naturally not sexually but asexually. It starts to multiply and increase its number. So the parasite is increasing its number with the help of asexual reproduction inside the liver cells. Now afterwards it kills the liver cells, and again all these Plasmodium starts to infect different liver cells. This continues for some time, but after some time what happens is, instead of infecting the liver cell, it starts to infect the RBC cells. RBC are red blood cells, or you can either say red blood corpuscles. So it starts to infect the RBC as such. Now, inside the RBC also it performs asexual reproduction. The Plasmodium performs the asexual reproduction, and it increases its number. So you can see well here how it is increasing its number. It is increasing its number. After some time what will happen is, the RBC cell will burst, and all these Plasmodium will be released outside. As they are released outside, one another substance which is toxic product which has been synthesized by the Plasmodium is also secreted in the blood, and the name of this toxic product is hemozoin. It is actually synthesized by the parasite itself, that is the Plasmodium itself, and it is responsible for chills and fever, which are basically observed during the malaria. आप जानते हो मलेरिया में ठंड लगती है, फिर फीवर आता है, तो these are actually the symptoms of malaria. This is the basic symptom of malaria, and these chills and fever repeat after 3 or 4 days depending upon the species of the Plasmodium, whether it is Plasmodium malaria, whether it is Plasmodium vivax, or whether it is Plasmodium falciparum. It depends, and the chills and fever repeat. Now what happens is, because the Plasmodium is infecting now RBC, now the total number of RBC becomes less. This decrease in RBC number is responsible for weakness, because now you know that RBC has a kind of pigment called as hemoglobin, and it distributes oxygen to every part of the cell. Naturally, if its number will decrease, the efficiency of oxygen delivery, that is efficiency of oxygen transport to each and every part of our body will decrease, and that will cause weakness. That will be responsible for weakness. Okay, now after this what happened, the stage of the Plasmodium, it differentiates when it comes out from the RBC. It differentiates into two forms, that is called as gametophyte stage. It differentiates into male and female gametophyte. This fusion of male and female gametophyte does not take place in the human, so it requires Anopheles host in order to do so. In order to perform fertilization, Anopheles mosquito host is required, and therefore this gametophyte stage migrates to the superficial part of the human body, especially during the night hours, so that they can easily be sucked up by the female Anopheles mosquito. So after getting sucked up by the female Anopheles mosquito, further fertilization and development takes place in the female host. So further fertilization and development takes place inside the female host, in the gut of the female host, and after fertilization the parasite grows and it again forms the sporozoid stage. This sporozoid stage will migrate to the salivary gland of the female Anopheles mosquito and will accumulate over there. So what happens is, the gametophyte stage, this fusion and fertilization cannot take place inside the human beings, and therefore they migrate to the superficial part of the human body so that they can easily be sucked up by the female mosquito. And this happens especially during the night hours when the female Anopheles mosquitoes suck gametophyte stage. Further fertilization and development will occur inside their gut. Now, as the fertilization has taken place inside their body, further development of the parasite will occur inside the female Anopheles mosquito itself, and after attaining the stage of the sporozoid, they will migrate in the salivary gland of the mosquito, and now the female Anopheles mosquito is ready to infect the other healthy human being. So in this way this chain continue, and I have told you everything about the malaria and hope you have understood this part well. This is how the this life cycle continues. There are two hosts, female Anopheles mosquito as well as human beings. Okay, now let us talk about certain other common human diseases. Let us talk about another kind of disease, Entamoeba histolytica is the common organism for spreading disease called as amoebic dysentery, or you can say amoebiasis. Now what happens in this? This is a kind of unicellular eukaryotic organism, a kind of protist which infects the large intestine of the human beings, and after getting inside the human beings with the help of contaminated food and water, which act as a resource, which act as a source for these organisms to enter inside the human body, their target organ is large intestine where they enter, and they are responsible for causing certain diseases. Now what are the symptoms of this disease, amoebiasis? Let us discuss. First symptom is constipation and cramps. Constipation and cramps, that is abdominal pain. Then it causes other things also. For example, The stool examination, from the stool examination we can see that lot of blood clot and mucus will be observed. Mucus, it will contain blood clots and mucus. Actually, perforation of the large intestine takes place. It perforates the large intestine, and therefore blood clot and mucus is also observed in the stools. So these are the indications of entamoeba histolytica. It is a dangerous disease. Okay, it causes a dangerous disease called as amoebiasis, and it spreads through contaminated food and water through fecal deposit of infected person. Now, the infected person, that is the reason why toilets are very essential in a country like India, because it's the hygienic toilets, it prevents the spread of certain diseases such as entamoeba histolytica, amoebiasis caused by entamoeba histolytica, and that is the reason why this disease can be checked by having sufficient number of toilets in the villages. Okay, now let us discuss certain other things apart from, we have already discussed amoebiasis. Now let us discuss about another diseases such as ascariasis and filariasis. Now, Ascaris lumbricoides. First of all, we will be discussing about Ascarias, and then we will be discussing about filariasis. So, let us now discuss about Ascariasis. Ascariasis is spread by a roundworm called as Ascaris. Now, it also enters inside the human body through contaminated food, water, fruits, vegetables. The infected person fecal contains number of eggs of Ascaris, and they can contaminate the food, soil, fruits, vegetables, soil, water bodies, and from that it can enter the healthy human being. So now Ascaris is a kind of roundworm. It is a roundworm. The eggs, when they are taken up by the healthy person, because of the contamination of soil or water, fruits and vegetables, they hatch inside the intestine and they cause a disease which is called as ascariasis. Now let us try to know what are the symptoms of ascariasis. Symptoms. We will be talking about symptoms of ascariasis. Okay, let us talk about the symptoms of ascariasis. Should I have this? Symptoms of ascariasis. Okay. Now, there are many symptoms. First symptoms is it causes muscular pain. Muscular pain. Then again it causes fever. It is responsible for weakness. It causes abdominal pain. It is responsible for blockage of intestine. Responsible for blockage of intestine. So these are the symptoms of ascariasis caused by Ascaris. Okay, as I have already told you, Ascaris is a nematode. It belongs to roundworms. Okay, now we will be talking about another disease which is called as filaria. Filaria. It spreads by another roundworm, for example, Vaucheria bancrofti, as well as Vaucheria malayi. This is the causal organism, Vaucheria bancrofti, and Vaucheria malayi, CROFTI, bancrofti and Vaucheria malayi. So these are the causal organism which causes filaria. Now it spreads through again a mosquito. The vector is mosquito. Now let us talk about how actually it spreads. Now in case of filaria, what happens is when an infected mosquito bites a person, this parasite enters inside our body. Now what happens is the lower abdominal part, the symptoms are observed in lower abdominal part. Initially the legs, you can see certain swelling in the leg part. You can also see certain deformalities occurring in the groin region, that is testis. It causes deformalities in the reproductive part. It is, if not treated, it will result into a condition where the whole leg swells, and in this condition it is called as elephantiasis. This is elephant like legs, swollen legs. So this is the disease of filaria. It spreads through mosquito. So you came to know about 2-3 diseases. First we have discussed about malaria, then we have discussed about entamoeba histolytica, then we have discussed about just before this we have discussed about ascariasis. At present we have discussed about filaria. Now let us discuss about certain other kind of disease. There are certain disease. See, these diseases which we are discussing, these are caused due to helminths. For example, the disease which we are discussing, these are all roundworms. Now in this case, in the last case, in the filaria case, it is spread by again a. Now let us discuss about the diseases which are caused by fungi. So there are so many genera. For example, Trichophyton, Epidermophyton, and Microsporum. Which causes disease like ringworm. Now this disease ringworm, it requires humid and hot temperature. So it grows very near to the groin area, in between the toes. Dry scaly lesions are observed in the ringworm, and the symptoms are itching, feeling of itching, burning sensation. So this is highly contagious. This can be spread by sharing the same clothes sharing the towels, even the comb, etc. Now let us discuss about certain things. Okay, we'll be discussing about how to avoid diseases. You know that prevention is better than cure. So it is very important to prevent such kind of diseases. Now both personal as well as public hygiene is required to do so. Proper bath, washing your hands, taking care of your body parts is very essential. Moreover, to drink contaminated free water, to take contaminated free food is also essential. Moreover, public hygiene is also very essential. Taking care of the surrounding in which you live. Do not allow the water to remain stagnant for more than 7 days is also required. In case of diseases which spreads through airborne diseases such as common cold and pneumonia, avoiding people, those who are infected is very essential. Avoiding contact with people, those who are infected with that particular disease. Then there are certain diseases which spread through vectors such as mosquitoes. It is very essential to eradicate mosquitoes, eradicate the vectors as well as the place where they are present. For example, you can use Gambusia fish, you can use disinfectant in the water in order to do so. Then avoid getting bitten up by the mosquitoes. You can use proper nets, other kind of things in order to avoid getting bitten up by the mosquito. You can use mosquito repellent creams. So these things are essential so as to protect yourself from the various kind of diseases. Thank you very much. I hope you like this topic. Thank you.